Hey.
So the barmaid comes back with your orders. Vale, you get your brandy, and I've been imagining it in this red glass, slightly geometric bottle. It's got a good few drinks in it. You get your food. Vale, I'm imagining you get like a chunk of pheasant, not like a whole pheasant, because I'm fairly sure they're quite big. Maybe like a half pheasant.
I don't think pheasants are either chicken size or smaller.
I thought pheasants were
they're not. I don't.
A little bigger than chicken, not like crazy bigger, just a bit bigger. I don't know. That's why I was like, I want them to have pheasant.
Yeah,
it's in my brain
that
now.
Good, anyway,
but you know, you're an elf. You actually don't need to eat as much as other people. So like a half pheasant is after a day of travel is actually fine. And you get those extra meals, so like you're gonna have your roast taters and stuff, and they're gonna have some peas and things, and you know, extra like bread, and you have like on this small table, it's like completely full of, you know, you got your main dish and slightly smaller other dishes and all these other things, and it's perfectly fine, nice food, you know, no complaints, assumedly. You get your food and drink, and you have a nice view of the dancing ladies over there, and Toon is happily sitting under the table.
And he just gets bits of food occasionally.
Yeah, good.
Melody, would you ever consider doing that? And I'll smile wryly and look at Vale.
Vale actually does that. It's like, oh.
Too many people watching.
What if it was only you and Gil? He smiles back at you, Riley.
My face drops.
If Gil asked, maybe.
Wow.
Well, it is quite a nice establishment you have here. I can see why you might have come here more than once.
Yeah, it's I don't know. It's gross outside, but it always feels warm in here. And that's not just because of the sweaty males.
We still talking about the tavern?
You see, like, your brandy bottle lifts slightly, and then like a little bit is poured into the cap, and then like the cap just goes like someone drinking a shot, and then it is like screwed back on.
I was really tempted to just be like, Vale just is gonna splat.
Was there a hand involved? Or was that magic?
That was Raj.
That's Raj.
Oh, okay.
Don't worry, Scott.
I was lost for a second.
I'll spell it out for you. That was Raj. Even though like Melody and Vale are being friendly, Raj still really the only person she bothers is Vale. And at this point, they're more pranks than just
that
actual
wasn't particularly malicious. If that had been malicious, she'd have like dropped the bottle on his head or something.
That's the thing. You know she can do worse. You are aware of it.
That's why Vale didn't react then. But I mean, there was a point in the past where he would have just like straight up murdered her for some, or like
knife quickly,
proper
swish.
Yeah. But he probably wouldn't do that now.
No.
Melody just smiles and says a few words in Sylvan at where presumably Raj was, has a bit of a conversation. I was neglecting Raj terribly by the end of last season. I need to stop doing that.
Well, it's one of those things where it's like
it's
one of those things where like Raj is always there. It's not like you're neglecting her. She's always there, and you're always.
The assumption is that I'm talking to her at some points. It's just like not working.
Raj doesn't really need to be a character. But, you know, sometimes she does stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Melody? I was just gonna. Melody, do you like it in here?
Too many people. The food is nice. Nice, warm building, but too many people.
The drink is rather pleasant too. The one problem is, where are we sleeping for tonight?
Yeah. Good point. I know a couple of places, I suppose. It depends how luxurious we want to get with it.
Maybe not bronze? We're not paupers anymore.
Yeah. I agree.
Is your family home in the Gold District?
No,
Or-
it's Silver.
Silver District, then perhaps we could find somewhere in the Silver District.
Okay.
All right. So you,
Yeah, that makes sense.
You sit and you eat for maybe an hour, hour and a half. You don't, although like two of you easily could stay for longer. You know, like Melody doesn't super like it here, and once the food's done, you've had that like extra 10 minutes or so for the food to like settle.
No, we had like half an hour. Come on.
Well, I mean, it's as much time as it doesn't really matter.
No,
By the time you're leaving, it's full on evening, but you have no trouble. You know, this place is one of those places where it's sort of there's a spill out of people, and at this point, there's alcohol flowing. And Goldport, even at this time of hour in this sort of like busy thoroughfare, is a busy city. It's an incredibly busy city with people all over the place. You guys head and you go to the Silver District. There's no issue with that. The districts are walled off from each other, most of them, not all of them. But you head over and actually you're given no trouble trying to go into the Gold District. You actually look fine. You know, you're aware that you probably wouldn't be able to get into the Gold District. You can't really get in there without a reason to go in there. But traveling back and forth, you've never had trouble with, and Gil and Vale at least actually look like upstanding members of society. Melody less so,
covered in
but
weapons.
Melody has been trying
the reason
to...
why you look the part is because you are covered in weapons, and that actually conveys a certain point of wealth.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Melody has been trying to keep up what Amelia helped her with and not doing a great job.
I've actually drawn a new thing for this where, Melody isn't as wild as she used to be, but Amelia helped her look human.
Yeah.
But I don't mean it in an insulting way, just like when Melody, she looked like a very muscular, very broad, but, lovely young woman. Now she looks a little wild again, but I imagine not. She now actually probably combs her hair and stuff like that. Probably Raj would do it actually at this point. She takes care of herself now, as before she just straight up didn't.
Exactly.
Beyond survival. There's bees growing in my hair. Let's get that out. So you head to the Silver District. The Silver District, the difference is noticeable but not dramatic. The Bronze District, especially near the wall, is quite nice. Here, the roads are nicer, the buildings are larger, almost all of them are 2 or 3 stories. At this point, there's very few shops that are open, although you notice quite a lot of the shops. Actually, while you're walking, Vale, with your dark vision, a sign catches your eye. You're sort of walking between you're on a road. My note page is broken. My notes.
Rip.
Let me reload my notes.
Cancel it all. Call it all off.
I can't do anything without my notes.
Let's call the whole thing off.
That's Dean's favourite phrase in our private Skype. Like, Wednesday, yeah? He goes, let's call it all off.
So you notice a sign. You notice the shop front of nice looking shop. There's actually like a plot of flowers, like a little bit away from it, like in front of it. And it has suits of armor in the windows, and one of them is you imagine if there was light, looks like it to be quite like it's feathered. It's like beautiful and almost bird-like. And the shop is called Arms and Armor by Christian Degen, specialist. And there's another thing that was like specialist materials. And that definitely catches Vale's eye. Maybe Gil'win's, but I just know that catches Vale's eye. And it's totally closed right now because it's like 10, 11 p.m.
That was something dagger.
Christian Arms and Armor is basically the name of the shop, and then it's got the person's name.
Arms and Armor.
His name is on the shop front though, so that's a whole thing. So you go around looking for an inn to stay the night, or do you like straight up go to like a small sort of, well, at this point in the Silver District, like any inn is like a proper comfortable inn where you can get your own rooms, and they are going to be clean and well kept. So I assume you just go to one that you know, Gil?
Yeah.
It's probably not necessarily one you've stayed at a lot. Maybe when there was trouble at home, you stayed here for a couple of nights or something of the sort. This would be a 1 gold for everyone per night in this inn, and this sort of thing where it's not a tavern, but they have a little bit of food. Like if you want like bread and cheese and stuff, they would have that, and wine. But like anything more than that is not so much. But it's a comfortable. It's quiet. Like it's not the Silver District still has people, but it's less rowdy. Even when you pass a tavern, it's a very different crowd, which is not a surprise. That's why the districts exist. So it'd be 1 gold each.
Yeah. I'll cover this as well.
Awesome.
Sure.
The it's a nice place. Each one of you gets your own room, and it has a proper bed that is. And actually, bear in mind that like while you're staying in Lichvale, you actually didn't have beds. Maybe near the end you got some simple beds because you were staying there for months, not doing so much. So you probably had cheap beds at some point, but you probably didn't splash out. These are like proper beds with proper mattresses and proper fittings, and there's even some degree of running water here. You can actually like wash from all the travels and really feel like you belong in this part of the city, so you're not dirty. Not that you were particularly dirty, because I'm fairly sure you have predestination.
Yes, I do.
So, but you it's definitely very comfortable, and unless otherwise, you all can get a nice sleep or meditate. But then Vale lays down when he chances anyway, so he would definitely use a nice comfy bed.
Of course.
And it's actually pretty cold, because bear in mind it's winter, and probably by the end of it, like the end of the night, like that rain has sort of turned into a slightly like wet snow. It doesn't really settle properly. So being in this sort of place, it's warm and comfortable, and you sleep perfectly fine. Going from weeks of traveling on the road and sleeping on the road in winter is not the most pleasant experience. But it's an experience that can be enjoyed in its own ways. I think all of you have appreciated at this point. But waking up that next morning is nice. You are definitely happy to have stayed in a bed. And then you wake up. It is snowing, but again, the snow isn't really settling. There's snow on the ground. Whereas it was very quiet while you were entering the Silver District at night, now it's you hear the sounds of a city around you. It's not bustling and loud. It's very different to being in the wilderness. You hear people. You can't forget that you're in a city. But the rooms that you're in, each one of them will have a window that you can open up and get some of the cold, crisp winter air, and sort of check out what's going on.
I probably wouldn't have had a very good sleep. And I think the first thing I'd do is go to Vale's room. Belle?
Yes, what?
Do you want to go to that arms and armor place that you were spying out?
Oh, I'm surprised you noticed that in the dark. Yes, I was thinking of having a peek around there at some point. You want to go now?
If you want to. I'm just thinking of things to do to distract me from the obvious thing that needs to be done.
Oh, well, usually I would complain, but yes, let me get my breeches on. One moment.
Okay, I'll go get Melody.
Melody is one of those people who doesn't need to sleep in a bed and wouldn't ask to sleep in a bed, but when she sleeps in her bed, she sleeps.
With a dog on top of her.
With a dog in the bed.
Oh.
I imagine it
Those
takes...
are the best cuddles. How
quite-
many pounds does this dog weigh? Or how do you do it in
It's
your own
a
terms if you have
big
to?
dog.
It's a big dog.
It's
yeah.
a
So is
big
there like
dog.
Like a 140-pound kind of dog, like a bull mastiff kind of dog?
He
or-
could have mauled me to death given the chance.
Nice.
Yeah.
So that's like big suit. Like, are you Little Spoon?
Yeah,
Melody's
there's no
big too.
there's no
Melody's big too.
spoons in this situation. They're knives. They're just sort of in. They're just there.
Oh, so you're like an old married couple. You like lie adjacent to each other.
No, they're like kind of on top of each other, but like
Yeah.
Melody's the cracker, the dog's the cheese.
yeah,
Oh. Oh, that's cute.
exactly.
Kind of like oozes around the edges. Too.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
They're gonna like go to clean this room. It's like, why is there dog fur in the in the bed?
What's this frothy bubbling
Black
thing?
ooze. Dune leaves in his wake. But I imagine it takes a little bit of time to wake Melody up, but probably fine.
Yeah.
We're gonna go do a bit of wandering today, Melody, before we go speak to my dad. And you know what? It's just hit me that I hadn't considered if I want you guys in there, and if he would appreciate you guys being in there, or wherever we will be when we meet.
We should come with, at least. If he doesn't want us there, we can wait nearby. But Melody doesn't want to leave Gil, make Gil go alone.
Thank you, Melody. Give her a hug.
Melody hugs back with a big smile. Melody will come with into city today as well.
Okay, let's go.
And you head out.
To Vale's room. Yeah.
Vale, like joining you, hopping, putting on the shoe, and
I want Tune to steal his other shoe.
no, come back, you damn thing. And you head down, and you're like, it's fairly easy to navigate this city to a certain degree, so you easily make it back to that shop front, Arms and Armor. And at this point you can tell like that there's two sort of there's a window either side of the door, and in one side is this suit of sort of this what you call splint mail, and it has these red vibrant feathers that adorn every side part of it. And the other side is this armor that doesn't look familiar, but it's just a full set of plate mail that is beautiful. And I imagine you head on in. It's open. It's one of those places where there's a little ding, 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 ding as you walk in, and it's one large room with armor racks and weapon racks and little display places, and at the end is a desk, and it's quite a high vaulted ceiling, and there's some things mounted like on chains from the ceiling, and immediately it's a little bit of a feast to the eyes of like a lot of stuff, and there's like shelves and things that are all just weaponry and armors, and after maybe a little bit of like Vale standing in the door and Gil being like, "Oi, like move," a gentleman walks up to you. He is a human with pale skin and dark hair that is very neatly kept, not a touch of beard, and clothes that are smart, but not noble wear, just like very smart merchant wear is what I really call it. And he goes up and is like, hello, you look like the sort who is interested in buying some weaponry. My name is Christian Degan. What is it you're interested in today, my friend?
Well, Christian, we've heard a lot about your work, and we're looking forward to looking around.
Is there anything you're particularly interested in, or should I give you a small tour?
I think a tour would be quite a nice place to start.
We'll do the tour.
There are a couple of things I'm interested in, but...
Good. Well, let me first explain, and he'd start walking around. It's like, this is quite new. I've not owned the shop for very long, but I've always been interested in metals, and metals that are different from the norm in one way or another, metals that can only be found in one place, or that have a magic imbued inside them, and occasionally weapons that are crafted in such a way that they have such a purpose that a normal soldier would not care for, but I can clearly tell that you are adventurous types. And he actually turns and he gives Vale like a long look, like a figuring out kind of look, like a I know something kind of look. And then he turns back around and is like, so I've started this, and I think you might find some things that would please you. I have all sorts of metal. Of course, there is mithril, a little bit of olocalcum, a little bit of dimetarium, and this is my my prized possession right now. And he shows you to in not the middle of the shop, but like the middle line, right near the desks, the cashier desks, is a glass case, and inside is a short sword, one of the ones that sort of sweeps out a little bit. But the blade is made of this dark material that is glistening with starlight. It has like bursts of color, like cracked fire opal, and it's dark in some places, but catches the light in beautiful ways and seems to even create light a little bit. And it's actually in a little hole, but it's in this glass case, and nothing else is in a glass case in this shop. Everything is. Some things are like chain locked down, but most things, you know, if you wanted to like pick them up and hold them around, you could. This is not. Like this is a blade made from the inside of a meteorite, a comet blade. It is an exceptional work of art, honestly, I must say.
Vale like reaches for it to put his hand on the glass, and then like catches his hand just before, and like, praise Orminator. That is a beautiful weapon. You say it fell from the heavens?
Yes, it fell from the heavens in Velheim when I was still traveling back and forth. It is a brilliant material. I've seen like of it, but only in legends. It is. I do not sell weapons that are magical in this city. It used to be illegal, but this. There is a power within it. Not even like ebonwood. It is. The blade is so sharp. It would be easier to show you. And he goes and unlocks it, clearly seeing that like just Vale is enamored in it, and picks it up, and sort of it's a short sword, but he's clearly not a soldier, but someone who can handle a sword, and actually offers the handle to you, and the handle is also of like exquisite make, but not of any sort of special. Like it's not got like extra showiness. It's just the blade is beautiful.
Well, reach forward and wrap his hand around the hilt.
So when you hold it, you do feel like there's a power in it, and when you sort of move it, it moves through the air like almost a liquid. It offers like no resistance, and it literally the whole saying of like, you know, your sword should be an extension of your arm, you actually feel it very truthfully when you're holding this sword.
Crossed arms, looking at Vale like a dad would his kid in Toys R Us. Like, yeah, he's gonna love it in here.
He did like
too soon, Dean.
I'm sorry.
Christian sort of has like a quiet sort of a hum of a chuckle. He's like, in legends, weapons made from sky iron or star steel, it has many names depending on where you're from, they can do brilliant things. Cut out the eye of an orc god, slay a dragon with accidental slices. They are powerful. I mean, and he goes and gets it'd be a sort of a bamboo-ish material that's sort of wrapped around a fabric. Would be fabric around bamboo material, and he's like, cut it. See, it is far easier to show than to tell.
Very well. And he like picks a little gentle, and then
Clean. I would tell you, gameplay-wise, this guy is a short sword with that ignores magical resistance, all kinds. and has increased crit range. It is also rather expensive.
Can you say those benefits one more time?
It's magical for the purpose of overcoming resistances and has increased crit range.
Oh!
Yeah, it's like Veil all over.
That's like gives you the class feature of a class.
So.
Yes.
He's like, hey, you know that subclass that nobody takes because it's shit? You get that ability.
I love champion. It's great.
Champion's cool.
Really?
Yeah.
I've played a fun
one
champion
right now.
I've played a champion
I will
before,
be
my dude.
in several bags of gold later.
The character that I'm playing in this campaign that just hasn't been introduced yet, champion was one of the options of what he was going to be. It was either going to be fighter with champion or this because that ability is just savory.
Yeah, I do like it. How much?
And sorry for yelling into the mic. I was just really excited.
Does it?
I gotta do some math real quick. I actually had this guy's entire shop written down and it didn't save. And that made me very upset when that happened.
I think the answer is probably too much.
This costs 400 gold.
Excuse me?
400. Wait, that's not... That's not my math. I'm doing the math.
You have a deal!
Yeah.
That's like no gold.
Yeah,
In accordance to the core rules, my character should be walking in with an additional 500 gold. Obviously, we're doing things different. But like when you walk in at this level, you just get starting equipment plus 500 gold.
Really?
That's like nothing.
Gold is
Yeah.
like what?
Rip,
That's
I
like,
don't do that.
That's like
400
a
gold.
third
No, I
of a-
didn't.
That's
The
why.
math-
That's
I
why I
did the
asked
math
you, do I get
wrong
extra gold? And
somewhere.
you said piss off, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, because it's like a set of plate mail is what 1,200 or something, isn't it?
Yeah. And you're saying fuck you, plate mail.
1,500 for plate mail.
Yeah,
This-
we have a deal, Christian.
This blade cost...
Shake on it right
Shouldn't it be
now.
rare, not like uncommon?
Yeah, this
Could I
blade
have
costs...
several receipts, please?
Yes, I would require the receipt in
The
triplicate.
thing I was using for it gives like just the worst price.
Yeah, hold on. I actually get the chart right here, cost by rarity. I was just waiting for it to load. Because, there we go. If it's rare, it's anywhere between 501 to 5,000 gold pieces. Very rare, 5,001 to 50,000.
No, this blade would cost 1,000 gold pieces. So not
okay.
incredibly expensive, but more expensive than this fucking PDF says it does.
Neil, it's worth it. Just go earn some money. Do what you got to do. You know what I mean? Just go to the streets.
I mean, you
Use those
guys
soft elven
got a
hands.
lot of money at the end of last season. If you
mean,
pulled
I
it together,
didn't.
you could easily... If you
Very
pulled it
well.
together, you could easily buy this.
I'm pumped.
I am very interested in this item. However, as you can see, I'm covered in weapons already.
Of course.
And no disrespect meant to the sir. Perhaps you would care to look at one of my more interesting weapons and consider a trade with some gold. But just have a look before you make up your mind. I can show you the weapon in action, but perhaps we better go if you have a garden or something like that, somewhere to test bows. Perhaps that is the area to go.
You are
It is-
a bowman as well.
Well,
I have a large variety of specialist arrows.
they're like licks his lips. It's like,
One at a time, Vale.
well, you see, now, I'm not so sure I even wish to part with this weapon, but as a master smith, you would admire it nonetheless. It is. a
I've
weapon of-
smithed none of these things. I'm a
You have
collector.
not?
Nope.
I see.
I know very... In my trade in Velheim, leaving Raven's Harbor, I was a merchant. I traded the valuable
see.
metals there. Dark iron is one you can only mine it above ground in Velheim, so it's valuable. And then quicksilver is an entirely different thing. So I used to trade
yes.
metals. before
I've
I
heard of
started this
quicksilver.
place.
But he's going to pull out the fire powder pistol from the
Mm.
holster. Now this You probably have not seen one quite the same, at least.
So he would show you to a sort of yard in the back, like a sort of stone paved area, that maybe has some flower pots. I was saying like flower plops. But there would be like a training dummy that's seen better days, and archery targets and stuff.
Perhaps you would care for a demonstration.
Feel free. I have heard of these are dwarven weapons. Yes.
Indeed. Known as a fire powder pistol.
The new king of Goldport has been there've been talks of introducing these weapons to the military, the guard, not the guard, the navy.
I can see why. With these, you are able to match many spellcasters on the battlefield. Let me show you why. He's gonna cock.
And it would leave like a burning hole in the middle of the. Well, why don't you go ahead and give me an attack roll here?
Right. Oh!
You there's an archery. You don't sneak attack an inanimate object, mate. There's this archery target which would be sort of like, it'd be an organic material one way or another, right? This is a bamboo-esque material, and it just sets into flames from the middle outwards, and he just very similar to Vale's look before, just is a little bit of awe, like it is fire magic.
Not magic, no. Well, in the same way that the comet steel is magical, yes.
Enhanced properties.
The powder is mined deep underground. I cannot remember whether it is a liquid or whether they refine it in a liquid form before turning it into a powder. But it is quite a long process, and the ammo is difficult to come by. For those who do not know where to look.
I can imagine so. I may have to find a dwarf or two to talk to about these. They are exceptional, and to not sound offensive, they seem like a weapon that even a layman could use, like a crossbow, although the reloading of a crossbow is a clumsy experience for someone who has not handled a crossbow tongue in some time.
Indeed, one could use this to great effect.
That's very interesting. Now I'm going to assume you do not want to part with this.
I cannot say I do. However, I could be persuaded to part with a couple of the fire powder cartridges themselves. A knowledgeable dwarf could perhaps replicate.
No. I am always above board. If I am to work with fire powder, as you call it, I will find a contact in the Dwarven lands myself. I am not a man about breaking the law. Even if this would not be breaking the law, perhaps breaking some trusts to counterfeit such a thing. That would be like if I was selling potions in my shop. That would be very much against the rules. But that is. Thank you for the offer, and thank you for the demonstration. I very much appreciate that. This is very interesting.
Well, as a fellow aficionado of weaponry, how could I not after the demonstration of the blade?
It is a beautiful blade. But come, let me show you. You are an archer. Why can I not? I shall attempt to tickle your fancy as you will. And he shows you in and shows you some things. He has. I'm just gonna speed up slightly. He has Unbreakable Arrows. I know the name. You may not believe it, and it looks just like you're saying that Christian. This is an arrow entirely made of metal. It is not made of there's no wooden shaft, and that is quite unconventional. But yes, but this arrow, it will never break. And he puts it down and gets a hammer and just smash. It leaves an arrow-shaped dent in the table, and clearly he's done this a few times. These, the of course value. You know, of course, if you are a bad shot like me, then it will go. You may end up losing more of them than otherwise. This is why I've stuck to crossbows in my time. I have screaming arrows. They make quite the noise, used as a fear tactic by many peoples. Let me see here in my little arrow section here. Of course, many of these can be. I have crossbow bolts of a similar variety. Many more folk here in this city prefer crossbows to bows, but of course, being a elf of your kind, you know, you understand how to use such a bow. Grappling arrows for a man about town, as they were. Arrows that can plume into smoke or fire or anything of the sort, or even this arrow that is designed in such a way. I mean, look at that, the way the light catches it. It is designed to fly through the air like a sparrow. And of course, all of these are costly, but...
I cannot say I'm interested in the arrows the same way I am in the blade. I find myself to be quite a capable archer. And as they say, the arrow does not make the archer. However, the blade
I understand.
is interesting.
The blade, 1,000 gold pieces. Though I know that you're looking for a deal, and I may have. It depends on where you are traveling. I can tell that you're travelers. I can assume, as you're interested in buying weaponry, you're not staying in the safe city of Goldport.
No, that is not the plan. Well, we will see how long we are in Goldport for, but we intend to move on eventually, yes.
Are you intending on heading to the city of Pastila? The city of magic?
I'm sure we'll end up going that way at some point.
You know that, you know, Amelia.
Yeah, Amelia has gone to Pastila.
Oh, yeah.
So there is no reason why we couldn't go to visit her there. I hear that they have some interesting fighting styles. Have you heard of the Rooks of Pastila?
I have seen them.
I hear they use. You have seen them. I hear they use a manner similar to the grappling arrows, but more fluid.
Exactly. They use grappling arrows that are attached to a they call it a pouch of holding or some sort, a extra dimensional space. It stores a near infinite amount of rope that can swing them about the city. It is beautiful, and if I could get hold of them, I would be very much appreciative. But that is not what I am suggesting. Pastila is a city of magic, and the magic of transmutation is nowhere better studied than in that city. If you are heading in that direction, I have a letter prepared, and if you can assure it that it gets sent to the College of Transmutation by hand, I would be able to knock off 100 gold, maybe more, off the price.
Pastila is not so difficult to get to, apart from in the winter, which is the most likely time of travel. Yes. And as such, I might suggest that, in fact, it is worth double that to have a letter delivered there by hand by a group of skilled adventurers. You know, with me, you pay for the safety of having a letter end up there and not go awry in some monster's belly.
Go ahead and give me a persuasion check.
Everyone's bored of me talking by now.
Nope.
They're just happy watching you be happy. He thinks for a bit, and you've built quite a bit of rapport. Like this conversation has been going on for quite some time between the two of you, and it's not like he's not talked to Gil'win. Like while he would have said hello and introduced himself and shaken hands and stuff earlier on, but he's like, no, I would be. It sounds strange, and it is a belief that is held by the Moon Elves that a weapon is created for a person. Now, that person is not always who the blacksmith intends, but I do truly believe that perhaps you might be who this sword was made for. So, reducing the cost to 800 gold if you deliver my letter, and I can fetch it for you from upstairs. I would be okay with doing this deal. Yes.
would you give me a moment to speak to my friends?
Feel free. I need to fetch the letter anyway.
Thank you.
And he toddles off. He walks off. He doesn't toddle.
Gil'win, I want it, but I only have 470 gold.
I have 180.
How do you only have 100 gold, my dude?
I have 180 and Melody has 180. I believe that's what we have.
You got each paid 250 at the end of last session.
I guess I must not have added that then. Hang on.
So you would have an extra 500 because you have Melody's share as well. And also, let's just as the way it basically works, you have last season's worth of your play ready. You just need to get to Northumberland to give it to Bialystok.
Which happens to be on the way to Pastila.
I have about 900 gold then, between me and Melody.
Could I perhaps borrow 400?
Yeah, of course.
Right, let me write a note. I do not want to forget. Melody, is that alright? If I borrow 500 gold? 400 gold.
If Dale wants the sword and Gil is okay with it, yes.
I owe
okay with it.
you 400 gold.
He writes it on a little
Signed,
bit of paper.
Erevel Valenair. Addressed to Gil'win, Gallowgear. There we go. Thank you so much. Did you see that thing? Oh,
You can still see it. It's back in the case.
I'm excited.
It's beautiful.
Is he coming back? Come
Christian comes back down at this point with a letter that's sealed and all that stuff, and then puts it down on the table. As he walks back around, he's like, "So have you come to a decision one way or the other?"
800 gold and your letter delivered.
I believe that's a fair deal.
Indeed. Thank you for showing me such a wonderful weapon. I'm sure it will save my life more than once.
Well, yes, I am a firm believer of good equipment keeps an adventurer alive. And he would hand over the letter, you hand over the gold, and then he wouldn't have even locked the case again. He just put it back in its stand, and then he hands it to you. He would also give you a scabbard for it, but it wouldn't be like matching the design. It just does fit the sword. It's like this. This was clearly built not with one, which sometimes happens. So he hands that off to you. And it's up to you if you want to peruse other stuff like armor and things, but if that's it for the day, that's probably a good idea. You can always come back another time.
Yes, I've wasted enough of your time already. Thank you guys for bearing with me on that one. What should I call it? Can you send me a little block with what it does, its numbers, or should...
Yes, I can do that during the break probably.
Cool. And it's a comet.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's got a bunch of names and anything you want to... The sword doesn't have a name. So... And I know that you like naming your swords.
I think we might have to name it.
So have some time. Maybe chat can help you name your sword.
So
you head out. You probably spent about 2 hours in that shop in like IRL time, in Jarviskjir time.
IDRD time.
Yeah. Melody's like, I'm bored, but at least it's quiet. Gil'win's like, Vale's happy, and Vale's like, there was no time at all. What are you talking about? And you head out, and it's one of those things where it's not even snowing that much now. It's just a little bit of blustery, powdery stuff in the air, but not much. And yeah, where to now?
Does anyone have any ideas, or is this it?
This is it.
Don't be so excited.
I'm sorry, but look at it. And he like unsheaths it and gently waves a little bit.
It's one of those things where you move it and like the pattern in it completely changes.
Oh, it's
Can you imagine if his virgin spill is my dad's blood?
Remember how we were talking about?
Yes, I have imagined it already. But not that is my intention.
Remember how we were talking about being jealous of the success of your friends? Just saying, my character might murder yours just to take your sword. Because fuck
Your
off.
character might get to go on a trip to this
It's
shop.
gonna be like
Who knows?
Smeagol and Deagle style.
My character has no gold. He literally
Maybe
has-
you'll be able to get more
He
gold.
literally has 5 gold because I ignored when you said you're charging me for my spear.
Okay.
Spoilers, man.
He has a spear.
I think people saw the
Stop
picture by
overlap
now.
my character.
Talk about me.
So
You didn't see it in Ollie's showroom or on Twitter?
Nope.
Or above Ollie's bed when he went over there to spend the night?
Nope.
Oh,
It's
Alright,
normally
just
dark when I go in that room.
yeah.
that's true. That's true. You have to come through the window.
Yeah.
Very Dawson's Creek style.
So
Dawson's Creek is a really shitty American TV show
We
from
know
the
what
90s.
that is.
we
Okay.
know that one. What's the plan, man?
Gil'win's dad.
All right, so you start heading towards your old family home.
Mm-hmm.
So as you do so, you know the way there. Not a problem at all, because considering you came from the Glistening Toad, you've had many stumbling nights from the Glistening Toad in your youth. You know the way back and forth. So it's actually one of the things where you sort of backtrack a bit just to get on the path you know, and then you go. But you're sort of dragging your feet a little bit. And you know where your family home is. It's in a bit of more of a residential area of the Silver District. And the Silver District is very prim and proper, and there's other people around who are standing around having some conversations. And you definitely overhear, it's like, oh, have you seen the human harp? He's back and he's performing right now, actually. It's like a conversation that's happening like around a lantern post, because they're staying warm from a little bit of snow.
Hearing that, I would immediately beeline to them.
Yeah,
And
they
be like-
keep talking. It's like,
The human harp.
yes, I know. I mean, we know he's from Goldport, but he's always touring, so he's back home in here is quite good. We're quite happy about that.
Yeah, I've heard he's quite good as well. Got a fairly prodigious son.
Have
as
you ever
well.
heard him live?
A couple times.
Well, he's performing now, like right now. I would be there, but I'm waiting for someone.
He's performing where? Sorry.
He's performing now at the they call it the Muse's Chain. It's just down there, and if you take a left, then it'll be over there.
Excellent. I think I'll go there now.
You should. You will not be disappointed.
If you pop on down, I'll buy you a drink.
I might do that later on. Enjoy the music.
Yeah. Let's go, Belle. Melody.
All right. And you start heading down to the Muse's Chain. As you walk up and you take the directions, and again, you either start. You probably. How Mr. Gil'win feel?
Adrenaline already, hands shaking.
You start walking.
Melody grabs his hand.
You walk maybe a little faster. Like you start to do a bit of a power walk. So like going there. The Muse's Chain. You actually know it quite well. You can see it. You could see it from your house. It's a music venue. You know, it's a place you can get drinks, but it's a music venue. The window, they've sort of got window doors that are open. And you can step inside to see a large crowd of nobles looking to a stage of beautiful wood, and it's a very decorated stage. And all that's standing on the stage all that's sitting on the stage is one man sitting in a wooden chair, playing a guitar. And this is Hendry Gallagher, the human harp, Gil'win's father. He is a man in his in middle age, but it's treating him very well. His hair is still dark. It's actually it's black. He's got stubble, a bit like how Gil'win has at the moment, but the stubble is greying more than the rest of him, and he has that same sort of wiry figure that Gil'win has. His clothes are noble wear. You know how Gil'win has a little bit of goldish color? It's not actually gold, it's just a little bit of fabric that sort of looks gold. His clothes have golden embroidery and golden flowing symbols all over it, and he's playing this guitar that has swooping designs and paint on it. And he's playing a very, very famous song. His famous song, like one of the most famous songs he ever performed, which is called "The Pretty Women of Dutchshire." The Pretty Women of Dutchshire is a romantic song, but when Gil'win Gallagher started performing way before Gil'win was born, he had a very high voice. Now, as he's got older, his voice has that sort of like smoky singing tone, and it's a love song, but there's almost something sad about it now that has captured everyone in the room completely. And as you hear your father playing this extremely memorable, for more reasons than one, love song, that's where we're going to take our second break.
Knew that was going to happen.
Well, you just look at the clock, mate.
I've had to pee for like 40 minutes, but I've been like, no, you can hold it.
You're not even on camera. You could have ran and peed.
I know, but I'm trying. I'm here. I'm in the woods with you guys. Like I'm here.
All right.
That's why he's still trying to catch up with us. He's still in the woods.
We're gonna be right back, and then it's gonna get real.
Right back.